So last Saturday I found myself the last surviving member of a stargazing expedition in upstate New York. And I was out in the middle of this little frozen pond looking up at the stars. And like so many millions of my ancestors before me, I felt very small and very alone and very lost. And I know that probably anyone who has looked up at the stars and spent any sort of significant amount of time staring at them has felt the same way. But I've been feeling a lot this way recently because I am graduating in a couple of days, and I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going or who I'll be with. And it seems like a lot of the people around me do know that. My sweet mate David got a great consulting job recently. My dear friend Linnea has this undying passion for cheese that is going to take her to great places. It's remarkable. And I recently met someone who had a really amazing passion for what they do as well. His name is Josh Hungerford, and he's a game warden here in Middlebury, in this area. And I had a chance to do a ride-along with him this last Thursday, actually. So when I was waiting at 80K and he pulled up in his truck, it was that Thursday that we had gotten that hoarfrost, and everything was just sunny and bright and white everywhere, and it was just sparkling, and there was just light everywhere, shining. And he pulls up in this dark green truck, and I hop in, and the light is like coming in through the windshield, and like his eyes are these like bright green eyes. And he greets me with this sort of enthusiasm that isn't the sort of really intense enthusiasm you might get, but it's this really like understated passion in a way that he has. And he starts telling me unprompted about how much he loves his job and how he's always wanted to be a game warden. And he jumps out and shows me all of the amazing equipment that he has in the back of his truck, from snowshoes and survival gear to 3 different guns and all of this amazing stuff. So we start riding around in his truck on patrol, and we head out to Lake Dunmore. And out there, we go out onto the ice to check the licenses of a couple of the ice fishermen out there. And the first guy that we come up to is this really kind of ratty-looking guy. He has a really strong Vermont accent and really bad teeth and like a haircut that looks like it was probably self-inflicted. And his hands are shaking as he hands us the fishing license. And I noticed, and I think Josh noticed this as well, because he instantly tries to put the guy at ease. He instantly tries, to ask him, how's the fishing going? Oh, I see you're from over here. Do you know this guy over there? And whatnot, and just really chatting and whatnot. And the guy kind of relaxes a little bit, and when we get back in the truck to go on to the next place, Josh says, that's what I try and do. I try and be really friendly with all of the people, because I don't believe in being the really stern law enforcement person. I want to be the community guy who's going to really get people to come to them if they see something unjust or whatnot and they want that remedy. So right at that moment we get a call on the radio, and the dispatcher tells us that someone just called in that a deer has been hit, and it might still be alive, but it's over at this place and we need to go take a look at it. So we speed off in the truck, and Josh and I put on our sunglasses to look like cool law enforcement people, but also because it's really just bright and sunny and everything is shining really brightly. And as we go, people are kind of waving at the truck, and Josh is like, I have no idea who that is, but they just wave at me sometimes. I should mention also that Josh is only a couple years older than me. He's probably 26, and he's been doing this for about 3 years now. And he already kind of looks the part. He's got kind of the shaved head and like a ex-military kind of guy would. And he's kind of like this, he's a big guy. Not threateningly big, but he just is a big guy. So anyways, we pull up to this road, and we see this pickup truck up ahead of us on the road, and we pull up behind it, and Josh hops out. And it's in this kind of stand of trees and it's next to this apple orchard. And there's these two guys waiting for us, these two kind of, they're both short and very stout and very Vermonty, in every sense of the word you can imagine. And they're the ones who called because they want to take the meat of the deer, if it is dead, with them to butcher and have the venison. So very quickly, Josh hops out of the car and he talks to these guys briefly. And it's morning, and the light is coming through the trees, and it's casting these shadows on the ground. But the deer is in this apple orchard just past the shadows, and so it's in kind of this like pool of light next to the things. And it is definitely injured. It can't walk. It's kind of lying against an apple tree. And Josh, very quickly, he goes over to the truck and he pulls out his .22 and he walks across the road and he aims and he shoots the deer. And then he walks up to the deer and he shoots it again in the chest to make sure it's dead. And then the four of us, Josh and I and the two men, walk over to the deer and we stand there and we wait until it's dead. And I had never seen an animal killed before, larger than a fish, like a salmon. One time a bird had run into my window and had died instantly. But I really hadn't had much experience with that. And I guess in the minutes before, when I knew it was a very real possibility that we were going to have to shoot this deer, I was sort of expecting that when we would shoot the deer, that I would feel really sad, or that I would feel pain. And I didn't. I knew that we had done the right thing, that this deer had been suffering, and that we had killed it, and that it was going to be used by these two men, and it wasn't going to be this waste. And I didn't really feel sad for the loss, and I was confused by that. But Josh clearly wasn't. And so after he helped the men load the deer into the truck and left this kind of trail of blood across the snow, we got back in his truck and we went to lunch, and we went to Nooney's. And he walked in, and they knew him there because he went to the lunch there a lot, and you know, he didn't hold back his Vermont accent, and everyone was chatting and talking, oh, how are you, and nice to see you, and he's smiling and chatting to people. And they mentioned that they're starting a program to give discounts to law enforcement and firefighters and paramedics and in the community, and Josh just kind of nods. And then when we go upstairs to eat our sandwich, he leans into me and he says, I hate when they do that. I hate when they do that. I'm just doing my job. I don't want the discounts. And I say, yeah, but Josh, you know, you're the guy in the community who's, you know, you're putting your life out there. It's a dangerous job. Like, it's like, you know, I get paid for it. You know, I don't want those discounts. And I sort of saw Josh differently then. I had been sort of thinking about him as this law enforcement officer, and instead I saw him then as this really community steward. This guy who was doing it not just because of the job, but because he really believed in the community and in the natural world around us and preserving that for people. And he had really found his place. And so when I was standing there on the lake a couple of days later and I was looking at the stars, I thought of Josh, who had found his place, like so many of my friends have. And then I thought of something that my friend had said just before she went inside and left me alone in the dark. Which was that the light of the star up there, Betelgeuse, has taken 500 years to come and to reach our eyes. And I thought, man, the light from that star, the little photons or whatever, traveled all that way for 500 years just to come down and hit me right in the eye. Man. I was in just the right place in the right time. And I sort of realized then that I had been thinking about the deer a little bit wrong. I had been thinking about that this deer, you know, this poor deer had maybe been in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I knew that as I was standing there and I was looking at the stars and getting hit in the eyes by all of these tiny little stars from, you know, the photons, the stars, that somewhere there was a deer that wasn't getting, you know, that wasn't having the light of the stars reflected off of its eyes. That it was having the light of headlights on a car reflected off of its eyes. In the same way that the sun hit off Josh's green eyes and the snow and the eyes of the fishermen when they looked at each other. And I realized it was the same way that it will for me too. Wherever I am, tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, when I look at the stars too, I'll be in the right place as well. So, thank you.